So I think my screen is visible now.
Yes, you can go full screen if you want.
All right.
Yes. So Nadeem, the floor is all yours.
Okay, so thank you very much, Professor Iyer, for giving me this opportunity to discuss my few experiences and very basic thing about this software. So this is an introduction to Silvaco software, wherein we can simulate semiconductor devices. There are a host of devices which could be simulated, and therefore Silvaco provides with a lot of tools which could be used depending upon the need that the user requires. So while simulating, one needs to activate those particular tools which are essential for that particular device which the user is going to simulate. So today we can have a look here on a very basic device structure that we usually fabricate in our labs. So this is a single layer device. Usually we use P3ST as a semiconductor. This semiconductor is also used for the fabrication of solar cells. So this architecture is basically meant for an organic diode. Why organic diode? Because the semiconductor is organic semiconductor, P3ST. And in the labs, we usually fabricate it on above an ITO coated glass substrate. And for a very good matching of the work function and all that, we usually, after that, we coat PSS, and then we have the coating of P3ST solution. And there are a sequence of processes. And then finally, we have another contact, top contact, which is usually a metallic contact like aluminum. So this is what we fabricate in the lab, a very basic device. But we also want to emulate this structure in simulation using Silvaco. So we are going to do it next and see how we can do it in Silvaco software. So so I will refer that major part of the lecture is based on the codes taken by Professor Mazari, that is E611A, and also from the website of Silvaco, which has many manuals, user manuals, example codes, and all that. So the users can also refer to these references. So now, before simulating a particular device, one needs to analyze it. That in the simulation, what are the parameters that will be required, and what will be the basic features of the devices that one needs to simulate in order to get a very a corresponding feature inside the simulation also that we have in the fabrication. For example, the device structure that we had shown has at the bottom has two metallic kind of contacts, ITO and P.PSS. Then we have a single layer of semiconductor and then aluminum. Usually in the fabrication, there is a predefined thickness of ITO electrode, for example, 350 nanometers. Then P.PSS may be 10 nanometer coating. Then we have around 100 nanometer of film of the semiconductor P3ST. And finally, we evaporate around 100 nanometer of aluminum. But are these features required in simulation? Exactly these features? Yes, one may. The answer is yes. One may emulate similar features, but that will not be necessary. So similar characteristics could be emulated inside Silvaco with very minimal features and minimum characteristics being given. So that will be that if we do it, the coding is done efficiently, that will save the time also. So let us analyze it. So the bottom two electrodes, what is the function of bottom two electrodes? Actually, it acts as a metal electrode that will help in the injection of the charge carrier, for example, electron or hole. So here, if we see at the energy level diagram of this structure, at equilibrium, what we find that if we rotate it in 90 degrees, then we see that this is the electrode combination of ITO and P.PSS, which gives you a work function of around approximately 4.9 electron volts. And then we have a semiconductor whose energy gap is around approximately 2 electron volt with the electron affinity of 3 electron volt and ionization potential of 5 electron volt. Further, we see that aluminum is there whose work function is around 4.3 electron volt. So during operation, what happens that at this end, from 4.9 electron volt to 5 electron volt, there is a very minimal barrier of around 0.1 electron volt. That is negligible actually. For injection of holes, that is important. So this is the LUMO level and this is HOMO level of the organic semiconductor. So for conduction of holes, the HOMO level is significant. So here the barrier is negligible. So whenever we try to bias the device, positive voltage given here, so it will easily allow the injection of holes into the semiconductor. And further at the other electrode, the collection will also be easier. Why? Because here the barrier for holes is negligible. For electrons, yes, from here to here there will be a barrier, but for holes, the barrier is negligible. Now, if we bias it the other way, so if you try to inject holes from this side, there will be a significant barrier of 0.7 electron volt. So so there will be a negligible amount of injection of holes, and so the conduction will be restricted here. So so the purpose was to show that this structure could function well as a diode, because it will allow conduction in only one direction and stop significant conduction in another direction. Now, when we provide the bias to the structure, what happens that due to the positive positive bias at this end, the work function will go down. So this is out of equilibrium. It will go down, but the barrier between this electrode and semiconductor HOMO level is still has to be constant. So for that, what happens that the semiconductor levels align themselves, thereby resulting in an electric field. So this electric field is important for conduction of charge carriers, and also in the case of solar cells also, this electric field plays a role of dissociating the electron hole pairs or exciton pairs, and further this electric field helps in the movement of holes and electrons in different directions, in opposite directions, and thereby the opposite types of charge carriers are collected at the end, and they are taken out of the circuit like this. So similar structure could work as a solar cell also, but right now our requirement is to make this structure work as a diode structure. So the requirement will be to create this structure and then apply the bias at the electrodes, and then see the IV characteristics or CV characteristics for AC simulation. So Silvago provides DC-AC, and that we'll see later. But if a solar cell has to be simulated, so in addition to the electrical biasing, one also needs some light source to shine on the sample. For that, we will need another set of commands that will create the shining of light on this. Now, in order to capture more effects into it, one will also need the exciton function, and then generation, recombination, all those features will need to be activated. So first, since we are going to see the organic diode, so we will simply have a very simple program to run such kind of organic diode structure. And we will see how, so this is very basic for the understanding purpose, but in real device simulation, one has to do some advanced level of functioning. So one has to recall all those tools and models that is corresponding to the organic semiconductor. So right now we are going to see a very basic model. So usually the fabricated device has X dimension of 4 mm, and the thickness of 3 is around 100 nanometer. For electrodes, we do not need to define the thickness, because electrodes basically work as providing the boundary condition to solving the structure for current or voltage. Now, a solution means that the whole structure is divided into small meshes and grids. So a lot of nodes are created, and therefore by integrating at all those nodes, one is able to have the calculation of voltage and current corresponding to that voltage. So, and this is a 2D simulator. So X and Y dimension are important. For Z dimension, usually during fabrication, we have another 4 mm in the Z dimension. But since it is a 2D simulation, so we cannot have nodes corresponding to Z dimension. But at least we can scale the current at the Z direction if we introduce the width at the during defining the structure. So now let's move on. So now we will try to have a look at the software, Silvago software first, that what are the features provided with the software, and then we will try to run this structure. For going to the software. So one needs to have, to access the software, one needs to have this Movaxterm software. So one needs to open this, and from here one has to go to the session. This I have already told you. So the IP address is and then you need to specify the username assigned to you, and then it will ask the password, and then you will have your own access to the software. And further, you will need to have a tool called deck build, which we'll see very soon. So we need to invoke that tool, a deck build tool. Okay. So let us see an example in the deck build. So this is the window in the deck build. So this is a deck which allows you to give commands to create a structure as well as simulate the device. So now we can see, so here what are the features being provided. So here you can have a new file and all those. But we have examples also, a list of examples provided by Silvaco company. You have different kind of technologies that you can run, and these devices have been calibrated with the reported devices. So you can have a look at these devices later, so that there is a better understanding. So they have provided all kinds of combinations of codes and tools that one needs may need during their simulation. Okay, let's leave it now. So there are a lot of features into this. So this is the window, and here the lower section is meant for runtime window. So we will see during the running of the program all the parameter values and anything crucial to that will be shown here, and there are other things also. Now moving back to the presentation. So this is what I was talking about. So Atlas is a device simulator which is at the core of all the other softwares or structure editors. And what happens that you need to have a structure created corresponding to the device that you want to simulate, and that structure is then being run in this device simulator. So Atlas basically solves the Poisson's equation, drift diffusion equation, and continuity equation self-consistently to get the values of the corresponding parameters. And the output are in the three forms, like runtime output that I told you in the lower window of the deck build, and some outputs, log files, solution files. And to visualize those results, there is a software, a guiding software or graph tool that is known as Stonyplot. Here you can visualize all the results that you have in the form of log files or structure files or solution files. Now to create the structure, there are other tools also available, like Athena, very famous tool. So here it is like a real fab filling the real fabrication, like you can have ion implant and diffusion and all those things. We also have a device editor where we can separately create the structures like polygons and all those, which are meant further for having to emulate the device in the rectangular or circular form. But there is another mode, which is command mode. So in the form of commands also, we can create the structure, and that is being a feature is given by deck build that we have seen recently just now. So the route we will follow for the simulation of organic device will be, we will use deck build, introduce commands to create the structure, then we will have the simulation, and we'll have the outputs, and we will see it to the Stonyplot like this. So now there are commands to be written in the deck build in a particular order. So the order needs to be followed. For example, first we need to create the structure, then the material models, then what is the method being required to solve, like a host of methods are there to solve, like Newton method, Gamel method, and all those. Then we need to take out the solution and then see the result. So in the structure specification, there is also an order to be followed. First, we have to create a mesh, that is various nodes. It depends how small you want to, how minute and coarse or fine you want to make the structure for calculation. So more fine is the structure, more accurate will be the result. But after a certain level of resolution, you do not need to have further, because that will again not alter the results, but rather waste the time. So we will see it. So now we are going to write the command for this particular structure. So we'll write it inside the deck build, but first have a look in the series of commands that we usually need to give in that deck build. So we see the order is given here. So first we need to define the mesh. So before that, we'll type Go Atlas. So this will invoke the Atlas device simulator. So then we need to define the mesh. So we need to write the mesh. width we will see soon. So the X dimension is from 0 to 4 mm. So in Silvaco, by default, the dimensions are in micron. So I have defined it from location 0 to 400, these two lines. So it means that the X dimension is from 0 to 400 micron. I shown that this is mm, but mm will mean that 4000 microns. So that is a very big device structure that may end up in taking a lot of time during solving. However, it is possible. So what I have done that I have reduced one significant figure here, and that I have put into the width. So width was also 4000 micron or 4 mm, but I have made it 40 mm. So the X dimension is from 0 to 400. So 0 to 400 micron. But I have also defined spacing between all of those. So I have trying to define the grid or mesh. Why? Because it will help in giving the solution. So I have to make small or fine meshes. For that, I have defined spacing also. So at the location 0, the spacing will be 40 micron, and at the end also it will be 40 micron. So there will be a constant amount of spacing in this dimension. While in the Y dimension, let us see. So at location from location 0 to 0.1, so the thickness in the Y dimension is 100 nanometer, that is 0.1 micron. So the I have defined as 0 to 0.1 micron. So the spacing at 0 is around 1 angstrom. So 1 angstrom, and at 0.1 also it will be 1 angstrom. So very minute angstrom level. Why? Because at the end of at both ends we have the electrode, and so there is an interface here. So near to the interface there may be a variation of a lot of parameters which we need to capture. So for that we need to have a very smaller resolution over there. So 1 angstrom. But at the center it is more or less the same. So we do not need that much resolution. So we have given it a breather. So it is around 1 nanometer. So because we don't need it. If we put 1 angstrom, then it will only take a lot of time in solving, but that's not required here. Okay, moving on. So what we have done till now, we have defined the mesh, and also we have given the third dimension width, which is around 4 centimeter, 40 mm. Sorry. So actually, what will happen? The calculation, all the calculation will be done, and the current will be multiplied this much time to give you a realistic value. So till now we have defined the mesh. Next is we need to define the region. So this is the structure, but the region, that means that this structure is made up of a semiconductor, and that is organic semiconductor P3ST. So we need to define that the region is actually made up of P3ST. So next is region. So region, we have only one region because electrodes are just the boundary conditions. We do not need to give it a specific region name. So there is only one region. The number is 1. So it is from X equal to 0 to 400 micron, and Y equal to 0 to 0.1 micron, that is 100 nanometer. So the direction is like this. X is in this direction, but Y is in bottom direction. Like this we can define. You can also define using negative values in opposite direction. That is also allowed in the software. So these are the particular set of commands, but they are not the only possible commands that are to be written. You can change the commands as per your need. For example, in the previous one, here the spacing was written. You can also write S instead of spacing. And also you can define the meshes in another way also. There are a host of these that you can see in the Atlas user manual. You can define using a different kind of base. So this is one of the way that I have shown. So the region is P3ST, but the P3ST name by default is not understood the software. There are a lot of semiconductor devices like Pentasene, PPV or ALQ3, but P3ST is not being identified by the software. So what we will do, we will use a known name, that is organic. Organic is the name which is known to the software. So it will assign the corresponding values of energy gap, permittivity, and all those things. Now, if we look at here, this is a part of the Atlas user manual. So there are a host of devices that is identifiable to the software, organic, Pentasene, ALQ3, and all that. Now, if you look at the values that are being assigned, for example, we have used organic. So the value of dielectric constant is given as 11.8. Energy gap is 1.08. So these are not the correct values actually. The default values are not the correct values. These are rather corresponding to the values of silicon. So we need to modify these values also. That we will also see how to do. But the purpose was to show that these are the list of organic materials that is identifiable to the software. So moving on again. Okay, so the region is being defined like this. Now the next is defining the electrode. So at the top we have the positive, that is anode, has to be defined, and at the bottom we need to define the cathode. Now the name of electrodes are also limited. There are limited number of names of the electrode that is to be given. For example, let us see here. So first electrode, the short form is elect. First electrode number equal to 1 is from x equal to 0 to x equal to 400 micron, from here to here. But y is from 0 to 0. So at the top electrode is, the name is anode. So anode is known to the software. We can also write gate, source, drain, all those things. These terms are identifiable. But if we write a new name like metal and all that, it may not identify. Now the material, what is it made up of? So you can write here ITO, because in fabrication we have ITO, or we may even write gold. So that is not significant. But yes, these names should also be familiar to the software, aluminum, gold, and all that. So we can write gold also. Later on, when we define the work function of the electrode, then it will correspond to the electrode that we require. So later we will see. We have another electrode, number 2 at the bottom. So x equal to 0 to 400, but y is from 100 nanometer to 100 nanometer. So at the bottom we have another electrode. But we do not have a thickness of the electrode. We could have defined that also, but we do not need it, because the basic purpose is again to provide the boundary conditions for solving the differential equations of drift and diffusion and all that. So here the material I have given the name aluminum. So by default, it is considering it to be aluminum, and it to be, if I write gold, it will consider this one to be gold and this one to be aluminum. But later on, we can modify that by using different value of work function required. So now, till now, we have defined the electrode. Now next is the doping, if doping is required. But usually organic semiconductors that we fabricate, we do not dope it. So no need to define doping right now. So then we will move on and define the material. What is the material? This one. What is what is the parameters of the material that is here? So next, material for region is equal to 1, P3ST. We have named it organic. Okay. So now the energy gap is around 2 electron volt, and this is the density, carrier constant density, electron, 10 to power 22. For hole also approximately 10 to power 22. Electron affinity, as we saw in the energy level diagram, 3, and energy gap is 2. So ionization potential will automatically be 5. Okay. And then permittivity, dielectric constant, that is around 3 approximately. And we have also defined the mobility of the semiconductor. So this structure was basically meant for the conduction of holes, and usually organic semiconductors are characterized by low values of hole mobility or carrier mobility. But electron mobility is further lower for this kind of material, because this is primarily a hole conducting material. For example, if we had PCBM, then it will be primarily an electron conducting material. So in that case, the value of mobility of electrons, MUN, will be greater than that of MUC. Okay. So now we have also defined the material. So there is only one material, so we have defined that. If had it been there multiple materials, then accordingly in sequence we have to define other materials as well. So now next is we need to define the model that is being used. So if we write a model here, it will take default model parameters like Boltzmann equations and all that. And also by default, the temperature is 300 Kelvin. That is also by default. So you need not need to specify these things. But in this particular case, we need to solve it using Fermi-Dirac statistics. So I have mentioned that particularly, that is Fermi-Dirac statistics will be followed. I may also write near to it temperature equal to 300 Kelvin, or maybe the user will require it for higher temperature, so 400 Kelvin, 500 Kelvin. One could mention here temp equal to that particular temperature. So we are also done with model. Next is we need to define the contact. The contact electrode was defined earlier, but that electrode will become a contact when we assign a work function to it. So the name was anode and cathode for the electrodes, and those electrodes are to behave as a contact so that we can apply the bias across these contacts. So we are giving the value of the work function. For example, anode was ITO or gold. So for that, we saw during the energy level diagram that was around 4.9 electron volt that we have given here. And for aluminum, it is around 4.3 electron volt that we assigned here. So this will give the boundary condition to solve the differential equations. And what condition will be taken here? So by default, it is the Schottky barrier condition. So since we have defined it, the work function, so it will consider it to be a Schottky contact with a thermionic kind of emission for carrier conduction. And if you want to modify that, for example, in Schottky contact, one also observes barrier lowering, then we need to write the corresponding commands also here for barrier lowering. And for example, if you do not mention the work function here, then Silvaco by default, Atlas by default takes it as a ohmic contact. So if you want to create an ohmic contact at both ends, you need not define the work function here. So with this, we have created this structure. And also, if you want to define the interface, for example, at the metal and semiconductor interface, or maybe in MOSFET structure, one needs to have a very important dielectric semiconductor interface. So there, a semiconductor insulator interface. So there, one can define that. But here, it is not required. It's a very basic program. So we are leaving that, so we can leave it. So till now, we have defined all those structures and models that will be applicable here, and some default values will be taken. So next will be to define the method that will be used for solving those equations, iterative methods or numerical methods. So I hope there is no doubt till now. Okay. So you may pose your questions at the end. So I am moving on to define the method. So before defining the method, there are a few things that if done, it will be very helpful later. The first thing is to initialize the solution. So if we write solve in it, then it will solve the structure with equilibrium conditions and get an initial guess for it. So that will help in solving further when we apply a particular bias to the structure. So initial solution once attained will help in further getting the solutions without diverging the problems. So the solution will be convergent. So that is why before defining the method, I have solved it initially, solve in it. And once we solve it, the equilibrium structure will be created, and then I will save the solution in that equilibrium structure. So I have saved also, save out of, and this is a name you can give, and extension should be str. So a structure file will be saved. Such a structure will be created and it will be saved for equilibrium. Okay, and in that structure, apart from the basic values of doping and hole concentration and all that, I also want to store the values of conduction band, energy level, valence band energy level. So for organic, it will be like LUMO and HOMO. Also, I want to store the charge concentration, electron charge, hole charge, carrier concentration, and also the value of currents like diffusion current, drift current. These values I also want to store in the structure file. So this is why I have given output is the command, and these are the values that will be stored additionally apart from the default values that are already stored. So till now we have solved initially. Now we can solve for bias conditions out of equilibrium. So for that, here we see after contact interface, we have method. So method, I have given the name Newton, but by default also the method is Newton. So even if I do not write Newton, it will by default take Newton value. But if I have to use Gamal method, then I need to mention here Gamal, and all other methods, host of methods are there. Okay. Now after defining the method, I need to apply the bias. So applying the bias requires solve it statement. And what will be the solution? The corresponding solution value of current and voltage will be stored in a file. So for that, log file is there. So before giving the bias value, needs to define the log file. So the syntax is log outf, and I have given a name. For example, I'm going to bias from 0 to 3 volts plus 3 volts at the anode here bottom. So 0 to 3 volts. So I have given a similar name to identify it later. So it will be a log file will be stored, and then I have given the command for solving it. So it will solve at the anode. So V anode voltage will be given to anode. The voltage will be from 0 to V final is 0 to 3 volt in steps of 0.1 volt. So 100 millivolt steps will be taken, and all the corresponding to all those points, the current value will be obtained, and all of them will be stored in the log file here. So at the anode. So where name equal to anode. So at anode, I'm going to apply. But at cathode, I'm not applying anything, which means that by default, it will be taken as a ground terminal. Okay. Now, corresponding to all these data points, bias points, the calculation will be done, and the values will be stored in the log file. And also the structure file can also be stored for the final value, for example, 3 volt. And that structure file will be again saved, save out of. So again, the str structure is given for the same file. So we will have a structure file also corresponding to after this solution. Okay. So this is the basic code that is required for running a diode. And it's very important to write quit at the last. So since at the beginning we invoke the go atlas command, so at the last it's necessary to write quit also, because otherwise the license will be stuck and other users will be waiting in line. So it's a good practice to always end any command of atlas with quit statement. Okay. So before this, so we will directly now go to the software deck build and see all these commands. I've already written them here. So very basic command for diode. So all those statements that I described there are already written here. So I'm going to run this command. So the statements are being written here. Okay, let me change one point for making some clarity. Okay, I have deliberately done one mistake here. So now there is a key to run it. So I'm going to run it. Okay, let's run it. So here we have the element for runtime window at the bottom. We are seeing it. So there it's showing that there is an error. Okay, we can go and see what is the error there. So actually, the program terminates itself wherever it finds the error. So here it says that since the mesh is from 0 to 400 micron, so the region has to be defined all the way to 400 micron, but I have already defined it up to 100 micron. So I need to correct it. Okay, after correcting, I am going to run it again. So we are going to, we are observing it here. So all the solutions are being displayed here. There's a long list of solutions. All the valid licenses, all those are being shown here. Okay, and we are going to get the solution. Okay, so now the program has run. So the solutions are already stored in the program. Okay, I want to save this program. No problem. File, save as, or save. We can save it. Okay, and now we want to visualize those values that we created. For that, we can use plot command. We could have put it here also. Then those graphs would have opened automatically. But there is another way to do it. So here is the link for plot. One can click it. So we have entered the plot for that particular file that we simulated. So file, open. So here are the list of output values that we created. One log file and two structure files. One was the structure file for equilibrium, and next is for non-equilibrium of 3 volts. Okay, let us first see this equilibrium structure. When we solved for getting initial solution, we also saved the equilibrium structure. Now let us see the equilibrium structure. Okay, the structure is like this. So this we have emulated. Okay, so what we can do next, here it is showing that the red color is organic material, gold is at the top, at the bottom, and aluminum is at the top. Okay, so from 0 to 100 nanometer, and here 0 to 400 micron. What else we can do? We can do right click, go to display, and see how was the meshing that we did. So there are a lot of functions. So first is meshing. Okay, apply. Now we can see that very minute meshing near to the contacts, very fine meshing, and it is relaxed at near to the center. However, in the x direction, the meshing is constant and is insignificant, so it is made in a large value. Okay, we will remove it. Next is we are not able to see the electrodes. So for this, we can use this one, apply. So anode is at the top, cathode is at the bottom, and in between we have the organic semiconductor. Now what else we can do with this structure file? So we can take cut lines also. Here we have tools, cut line, or short key is F2. Tools or F2 directly. So we can take cut lines to the structure and see the values of various parameters, how they are varying inside the structure. For example, here vertical cut line, we can take horizontal cut line also. But for our structure, horizontal structure is almost similar, constant, but things are varying vertically. So I will take a vertical cut line. I may also define the cut line using coordinates also. But right now we are going to take vertical cut line. I'm going to take a cut line like this. Okay. Now let us right click. Here is also a display. So in that display, there are a list of things that we have made output. We mentioned the output command and we have written a lot of functions there. So here are a lot of things. So absolute net doping is right now it is showing. So since we have not doped the semiconductor, so the graph for doping is not available. Okay. Also, we can observe here the cut line we had taken was from 0 to 100 nanometer. So we can see 0 to 100 nanometer, 0.1 micron, and the parameters will be shown in the y-axis. So no doping. Okay. Let us see conduction band energy. This is going like this. Okay, valence band energy. We are trying to see both of them. So this is conduction band energy, and valence band energy is varying like this. One can also see the Fermi level, quasi Fermi level, out of equilibrium or in equilibrium. So it is here. This is for quasi Fermi level for electron. And what about holes? Quasi Fermi level for holes. So all the parameters are here, available here. Hole quasi Fermi level. So they are at the same value because it is in the equilibrium. So these things we can observe. We can observe a lot of things. We can disable these things, get rid of these values. We can see the variation of potential also. Potential is here. So the potential is varying like this. So the net voltage we applied was around 3 volt. So inside the semiconductor, it is varying like this. So this is being shown with reference to the quasi Fermi level. So quasi Fermi level is the reference, and with respect to that, we have been shown the value. Okay. One more thing we can see, because here the carriers are basically holes. So we can see the hole concentration also. Here we have hole concentration. So the concentration of holes are varying like this. So we can see this is a log plot. So from the top, we are injecting holes, a lot of holes, and ultimately it is going to be collected at the cathode. So like this, we can see a lot of device features and the device parameters we can see after getting this structure file. Okay. Let's see what we have other things in the Tony plot. We also have a log file, which we had for bias. Okay. So here it is showing the cathode current with respect to anode voltage. We can go to the display. Once again, I shall show it. We go to the display, and here we see on the x-axis what is anode voltage. You can select another parameter also from the list of parameters available here. Okay. Instead of cathode current, I can choose anode current also. What will be the difference? The difference will be of the sign only. The shape is same, but the difference is of the sign. Okay. I also want to see it in the log form. So it is a linear plot. I can see semi-log, log linear plot. Okay. The log linear plot is like this. So at the higher bias, the conduction is basically like a space charge limited current. But at the smaller voltage, because the device has a built-in field, because the two electrodes at the ends have different work functions, so that is creating a built-in field, and that is why it is resulting in exponential characteristic. So here we are having exponential characteristic for smaller voltages, and once the built-in voltage becomes gets taken care of by the bias, so after that the space charge current takes over. So all those effects we are being able to capture. Now in the exponential region, since it is linear exponential region, we have lesser number of points. So we can have more number of points by increasing the bias points in between. Here it is critical to have more bias points. So in the codes, we can modify it accordingly. Okay. We also have one structure file out of equilibrium for 3 volt. Same structure is here, and we had for equilibrium also. Okay. So this one is for equilibrium. This is for non-equilibrium. Now we want to compare the parameters that under equilibrium, suppose hole concentration was a fixed concentration, and how it changed out of equilibrium at 3 volts. Okay, so what we can do, we can overlay these two plots. So Control A, select all, and do a overlay. Okay, delete the rest of the things. So now the two structure files are being overlaid on top of each other. Again, we can take a cut line. Okay, now let us see, try to see the hole concentration. So now we can see the green one was the hole concentration for equilibrium, but now out of equilibrium, the hole concentration is varying like this. And this one is for particularly for 3 volts, because the last value of the applied voltage was 3 volts. So this value is corresponding to 3 volts. So we can compare the parameters like this also. So these three things were being stored in the Tony plot. We can store other things also by providing those corresponding statements in the code file that is in the deck build. Okay, now I would get rid of this. So once again, we can have a look at the codes. So for example, organic semiconductors, I have defined mobility values here, smaller mobility values. But right now, I do not have defined the model for mobility. So it will take a default model for mobility, that is constant mobility value. So right now the mobility will not vary. But we know that in organic semiconductors, there are different kinds of mobility models that have been shown to be working there. So one of the model is Full-Frenkel mobility model. So if we want to invoke that, we need to put in the model, we need to put Full-Frenkel mobility statement like this. And also we need to, the corresponding parameter values we need to put in here. So for that, no need to memorize all those statements. You can simply go and search Full-Frenkel in the Atlas manual. One can go and search Full-Frenkel, for example. So there are a lot of search results. Okay. So Full-Frenkel mobility model. There are a lot of Full-Frenkel models like barrier lowering models. So here I have mobility modeling also here. So we can understand it, the statement, how the model is working. So square root of electric field is the specific characteristic of Full-Frenkel mobility. So that is the major function is like this, but implemented using some commands. So we need to put the values of those commands like mobility and all that. So we need to modify our command statements for our specific application. For example, if you want to catch the effects of Full-Frenkel mobility, we need to mention it in the command window. So the Atlas manual comes very handy in modifying our program. So the basic program can be made much advanced by using a lot of host of commands which are specific to that semiconductor or that technology, and that could be used using Atlas user manual. One can modify it and see. One wants to invoke a lot of different kind of models, and one can also do that. Now, by default, there is a model being defined. If one wants to modify that model that is being inbuilt into the software, Silvaco software, Atlas software, then what we can do? So for that, we have a C interpreter function also provided with the software. So any specific model has a corresponding defined function inside C interpreter. Now, a user wants to modify it, so he has to go download that C function, C file, and C language file, and there you can modify according to the need of the user. And then you can call that file in your simulation through command, and then it will do the calculations based on the modified model or any data, for example, recombination files data. There are a lot of things that one can do. So this was basic about very basic about a diode structure, organic diode structure. And many of the users would be required to simulate solar cells also. So I am not very much experienced with simulating solar cell devices, but I have some example files with me. If you say I can show you, but that may not be required right now. So basic code is done like that. For example, in the solar cell, one needs to invoke all those things like recombination parameters, recombination lifetime and all that. Exciton dissociation efficiency, singlet state or triplet states. So these are all the functions. So in the same structure also, if one wants to simulate under light conditions, one has to put the command corresponding to corresponding to the condition, like shining the light using beam statement or f.radiate statement and all that one can do. There are a lot of ways. If one wants to have a look at the examples. So there are a lot of example for solar cells also. So they are very advanced level codes given here. So for organic solar cell also there is a code. One can load it and one can see what different things are being done and run it also. So apart from the basic model, for example, if I go to model statement, so here they are considering some recombination models also, like Langevin recombination model, which is very essential for organic solar cells. Then we have singlet states also, that has also to be considered. dissociation of excitons and all those things. And corresponding parameters have been defined here for exciton and all those things. And so it will calculate according to all those models that have been invoked in the statements here. So one can do, but this is a very advanced level program. But the good thing is that in the examples, a lot of technology, solar cell technologies, example are given here. And depending upon that technology, a lot of combinations have been done for invoking different kind of models applicable, suitable to that technology. For example, amorphous silica solar cell, crystalline solar cell, and all those. Okay. So I have a very simple solar cell code with me, which I took from one of the seniors, Dr. Sandeep Kumar. So I can show you one such code. Okay, so this is for solar cell. So basically what is being done here, so Atlas, we will see it here only. So Go Atlas, so Atlas will be invoked here, and the mesh has been created. So X dimension is from 0 to 1 micron, a small device structure. It is a scaled version, and the spacing is constant. Okay, Y dimension 0 to 300 nanometer. The spacing is in 1 nanometer. The grid is created like this. And the Z dimension, it is a large value, so it will be scaled in the Z dimension. Okay, the region is organic, and anodes and cathodes are defined accordingly, and the material and mobility values the similar way that I did earlier. And we have the work function also defined accordingly. But now, since it is a solar simulation, we also need models of recombination and all that, and also we need to shine light on the semiconductor. So for that, in the model statement, he has included Langevin recombination model. For also for the states are either triplet or singlet. So mostly singlet is there. So singlet is being invoked here for exciton dissociation, and also there are various models for exciton and recombination. All those are being put here. One can also observe a few other things like recombination lifetime, and all those values are also being fed here. And also we have a beam statement. So here what will happen that the light will be shown on the sample semiconductor, and how it will be shown. So here one file has been invoked. So here is the application of C interpreter function. So there is a file created which will have a position dependent radiation on the sample. So one can create a file using C interpreter function, and if one can alter also using their own command, and thus the light dependent simulation will be carried out. So what I have added here is I have also tried to get a simulation under dark characteristic without invoking any intensity of the beam statement, and also with light characteristics using the beam statement. Okay, so very simple simulation is there. It's a very basic simulation for an organic semiconductor. So let's go through it. It will be a small solution, will take very less time. Oh, so our license is awaited. So somebody else is using right now the simulation, so it is not running right now. So right now I'm unable to show it because the license is awaited, but it runs like this. Maybe I did the simulation earlier, and I have the output files stored here. For example, I have a log file corresponding to light shining and for dark also. Let us compare the two. So I will select both log files and overlay them and open it. So now we can see on the x-axis, the light intensity is being shown. So under dark conditions, light intensity is 0. But in the light condition, it is 1 watt per square centimeter is the intensity. And here it is shown cathode current. So let us see what else we have. We will go in the display, and in the x-axis, we will select anode voltage. Okay, apply. Now we can see here. Excuse me. So this is the dark characteristic, right? Right from minus 0.4 volt to plus 1 volt. So negative values are also being taken care of. Plus 1 volt. And under dark condition, it is perfectly like a diode. But under light condition, it is somewhat different. So some effects are being captured corresponding to the shining of light condition. Now that here we can see that it is somewhat different from crystalline silicon solar cells. They have parallel line. It's somewhat dissimilar. So why this is so? Because it corresponds to the models that we had called back during the simulation. So it may happen that in the organic solar cells, you may have different kind of photo-dependent current. So if you want to capture that kind of current, you need to invoke all those models that is corresponding to them. Okay. So I have saved the file at a particular folder here. So one additional thing I will show you before leaving. So I have the Movax Term software over here. And here I have saved my files. So these are some folders where I have the files. Right now I had shown you the solar cell here. So here also we are seeing that how are all the files over there. Now all those files that was shown using TonyPlot are being stored in the server software on the server only. So now a user needs to take out the data to plot it in a plotter and then see what are the variation of various functions. So the user also needs to know how to export the data from these files. So in the Movax term, we will see that all the host of files are being shown here, all the folders and the corresponding files. Okay. .in extension means that the code for running the software inside Atlas. We have log files, structure files, and all those. And we also have that file which was being called for beam statement. This file was being invoked there, was called. So for calling a particular file, that file should also be contained inside that folder. For example, we were running a code for there is the code. Now inside that code we called that file. So that file should also be in the same folder. That was the purpose of showing here. First thing. Okay. We want to also view what was there. For example, this was the code. Without opening deck build, we want to view that code. So we can right click here and open it with default text editor. So here we can see the code is being displayed here. So without the deck build also, one can go through the code like this. Okay. Also we had that file, C interpreter file written in C language. So here we can see that there are various variables like RAT is generation rate per cubic centimeter per second. And Y is location in Y dimension. So here what we were trying to do, the file is like this. So there is a generation rate corresponding to the different positions on the Y axis, Y dimension. So Y dimension and all those discrete points are being mentioned here. So all these values that we are seeing here were used when we were calling this file here in the command. So we were calling this file. So it looked for that file in this directory, and after looking at this file, it imported all the values which was written here and calculated corresponding to these discrete values, and we got the results, the light dependent as well as without using it. So all those were done like this. So this is the very basic how we can simulate a solar cell also. So the corresponding tool is beam statement, which is a part of Luminous license. There are a lot of licenses available. So depending upon the need and the device target that you want to emulate, you can use those corresponding commands. So this is basic. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot, I had to show you how to export the data outside this software so that you can download it and then you can later draw it using another plotter software. So here what we can do, there are two data. So we will go to the file, there is the export option. In the export option, you can, the drop down says that you can have user data also. So you can select TonyPlot user data. If you select all data, which means that all the parameters will be exported. If you select displayed only, then it will only export the current and voltage that is being displayed here. But we knew that there were a lot of other parameters also. So if you wanted to have the values of other parameters also, then you have to use all data or display data. Now here is the directory they will be saved. Right now the same directory is there where we had the code, and you can name it. So I am naming it output 1. Okay, the extension is DAT. Okay, once I do it, it gets exported into the directory of Unix software, server software. So here we can see after refreshing, we can see that the data file have come. So there are two files because there were two plots, one under dark, one under light. First one is for light and second one is for dark. So the number is given, and I know that first one was for light and second one was for dark. Now from here, we cannot plot it using a software. We need to download it also. So we can select the particular graph or data, and we can download it here. So we can download in any folder of our PC. For example, I can download it in the desktop. Okay. Okay, I have downloaded it in the desktop. It is download. Downloading is done. Let's see if I have it in the desktop. Yes. So here it is the downloaded file. Okay, I want to open it. The extension is DAT, is like a text file. So let us open it directly. So it needs a particular software to open. So for example, I can use Notepad++. It's a very famous software for opening these files. So now we can see first one is anode voltage. So this column is for anode voltage. Second one is cathode current. So this column is for cathode current. So from here, one can take the data. Now we have the data in our PC, so we can now take it into any particular plotter. Earlier, the data was in the server PC. So and that was also in the Unix. So we needed to download it. Similarly, we can upload any data also. For example, if this is a file we want to upload, so we can upload also. So there are features, a lot of features that you can explore later on. So all these things can be done. So now we have, as a result, we have simulated two kinds of devices. Also seen how to take out the data from there and plot it in our any plotter software like Origin or any other Excel or all that, and we can see the results. And many things we can do. For example, if in the exported data we want to take double derivative of the data, so for that, that means that you need to take double derivative. So then you need to have a very smaller bias point. For example, here the bias point is 100 millivolt, but in the double derivative you may get a noisy figure, so the values will not be captured. So you can then lower the resolution of the step voltage that you are giving in the bias voltage. So all that can be done. So I think this was the basic, very basic tutorial about running this software and getting the results corresponding to your device. So this is it. I would acknowledge Professor Iyer and Professor Mazari, and also the facilities that is being given by department as well as Sample Center and Flexi Center. So this is it, and I would give it back to Professor Iyer, and audience are free to pose their questions.
Excellent summary of how to use it. I think it's a really convenient tool. As all of you can see, it's an extremely powerful tool, but at the same time, the way they have made it is it's extremely user-friendly. So what it means is, if you only by regular use, you can become familiar, but it's easy to do that, get started. So let's take about 2-3 minutes or as much as is needed for any questions anybody has immediately. Sai, Naveen, Pankaj, Lokesh, Prem, Jai Singh.
Sir,
Yeah.
I don't understand how material is defined in a code, like in PPT. That only.
Here, material. So you're
Like,
talking about
I
this
don't.
material.
Yes. That only material.
Material.
Yes, that.
So, okay. So what happened that I had selected this region to be an organic semiconductor. So I had given the name organic. When I gave the name organic, it means that it will take the values of all the band values like energy gap, electron affinity, dielectric constant, all that, which is by default saved as organic. But we saw that the default values are incorrect in the manual. We saw that in the manual, the default values were incorrect. So then we need to define them separately so that we have the correct values that we usually find in the reported in the papers and journals. So what we did, we had to define that material. So material, the region was one where the material was organic. Okay. Now in EG300 is for giving the value of energy gap. So the energy gap was 2 electron volts, so 2. Then we had the density, band density, so NC. NC at 300 Kelvin, so that is 10 to the power 22. NV around 10 to the power 22. So these are reported values in literature and have been taken from there. Now, electron affinity is 3 electron volt. Dielectric constant, that is permittivity, is 3 electron volt, only 3. And the values of mobility is also given. So electron mobility and hole mobility are being defined. So these parameters completely define the electrical characteristics or parameters of the semiconductor being used. So these are taken from, these are very simple values, and this can be modified also depending upon the user. You can modulate it that will correspond to your semiconductor. So in the name of organic only, you can define your own semiconductor. And for example, if you want to name it differently, if you want to have a name like P3HT, which is not recognized by the software, then in that case also there is a facility for user-defined materials. So there are corresponding commands. One can refer to the manual. So one can define it using user.material. So there are commands for that. One can take care of it later also. I think that answers your question.
Yes, yes.
I'm not sure if my earlier comment came through because I realized my microphone was not in the proper position. But anyway, I think it's obvious that one has to go through the manual before starting. However simple it may look, my strong recommendation would be, one time please go over the manual for the section that you are going to simulate. At least the first time, okay? And usually our brains are very sharp. What happens is you read it, it will be there in the background, even if you may not realize it. So it's a good idea to always take a look, especially when you are using any new feature. So as Nadeem is pointing out, there are various things, the physics of it. So just go over it the first time, okay? So my request is, initially don't rush into just getting some final results. Get started, do play with it, do play around with it, but make sure that you go through the manual and understand before you go to serious simulation, okay? And one more thing, as Nadeem gave some examples of existing things, including the ones that are already there in Silvaco itself or that somebody else has written, you can start with that, but make sure you understand every line of it. Otherwise, you'll find that garbage in, garbage out, they say. So there may be something that you don't understand. It may be totally irrelevant. It will make your results give wonderful things, but it will actually have no sense in the real world. And when people ask questions,
yeah, right,
you may not be able to answer. So be careful about that. Okay. Any other comments or questions from anybody? Anything else from Nadeem?
Yeah, fine. It's okay.
And Nadeem, this was a wonderful presentation. So we might have, the students might have to approach you 1 or 2 times, but I will encourage everybody to make sure that you try to read first before approaching, at least in the beginning. And then of course you can talk amongst yourselves, and also you'll find that once you get started, it should be easy. All of you have used many softwares, and this, as far as I know, is a very comfortable and easy to use software.
Yeah.
And you have 2 options. One is the VLSI lab as well as the this Flexi Center or Sample Center. Okay, so make sure you have the license for both, and as very nicely and sweetly told, make sure you put quit at the end. Otherwise, you'll be making a lot of your friends miserable. So it's a possibility that somebody else is run and they are not done quit. That's why Nadeem couldn't run something right now. But, we don't know. Maybe they are genuinely trying something. So that's also possible. Okay. So if there are no further questions, we can end this presentation. And once more, I sincerely thank Nadeem. I think this is a good effort. And I'll request our colleagues, other friends, to build on this. Okay. Thank you very much. Shall I?
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah.